जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यमुना तेरा बनचारी
यमुना तीरा वनचारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे या प्रभुपादा श्रीला प्रभुपादा जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र श्रीमद् भागवत अवाय चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रीला प्रभुपाद की
जय।
श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंहदेव श्रीला गिरिराज कृष्ण शिष्य राधा रमन जी की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रमानंद हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमः भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, The Son of Drona Punished, Text 53-54. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Brahma Bandhur Nahantabhya
Brahma Bandhu Nahantavya
Atatai Vadharanaha
Atatai Vadharana
Mayayivobhyam Bhayam Atmanat Amnatam
Mayevobhyam Amnatam
Paripahi Anusasanam
Paripahyanusasanam
Kuru Pratisrutam Satyam
Kuru Pratishutam Satyam
Yattat Santvayata Priyam
Yattam Santvayata Priyam
Priyam Cha Bhima Senasya
Priyam Cha Bhimasenasya
Panchalya Mayam Evacha.
Panchalyamahayamevacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Brahma Bandhur Nahantabhya
Brahma Bandhur Nahantavya
Atatai Vadharanam
Atatai Vadharanam
Mayaivo Bhayam Amnatam
Mayavobhayam Amnatam
Paripahi Anusasanam
Paripahyanusasanam
Kuru Pratisrutam Satyam
Guru Pratishutam Satyam
Yattat santo yata priyam.
Yattat santvatayatha priyam.
Priyam cha bhima senasya.
Priyam cha bhimasenascha.
Panchalya mayam eva cha.
Panchalya mahameva cha.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna said, a friend of a Brahmana is not to be killed, but if he is an aggressor, he must be killed. All these rulings are in the scripture. You should act accordingly. You have to fulfill your promise to your wife, and you must also act to the satisfaction of Vimochana and me. So, this is what is Krishna. Yeah. We are going to speak on this a little more detail as we continue. Let's read the purport. Arjuna was perplexed because Asatthama was to be killed, as well as spared according to different scriptures cited by different persons. As a Brahma Bandhu or a worthless son of Brahmana, Asatthama was not to be killed, but he was at the same time an aggressor also. And according to the rulings of Manu, an aggressor, even though he be a Brahmana, what to speak of an unworthy son of Brahmana is to be killed. Dronacharya was certainly a Brahmana in the true sense of the term, but because he stood in the battlefield, he was killed. But although Asatthama was an aggressor, he stood without any fighting weapons. The ruling is that an aggressor, when he is without weapon or chariot, cannot be killed. All these were certainly perplexities. Besides this, Arjuna had to keep the promise he had made before Draupadi just to pacify her. And he also has to satisfy both Bhima and Krishna, who advised killing him. This dilemma was present before Arjuna. The solution was avoided by Krishna. Wonderful. So, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutali Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitiramine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashyati Desatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrindi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Dear devotees, human life is not it's not a plain field. You understand what is meaning of plain field? Plain field means the level everywhere is same. But a field that has somewhere up, down, there are the pits and so many other things are there. That is what is human life. It is never predictable. And situation given to the human life is very, very tricky. Why? Because unless we are given such a very tricky, confusing situation, we will not be awake, we'll be sleeping. If the human life is a plain field, every day you get up, have your breakfast, then you have your dinner or lunch, again go to bed and sleep. Nothing, no change. So human life, as organized by the three modes of material nature, by the influence of Kala, eternal time, poses questions. Every time it asks questions to us, and we have to answer those questions. That is why this material world has been created. Material world has been created such that the conditioned soul is asked questions, pertinent questions, questions he must answer. For example, here, Krishna is telling you, kill Draupadi and Yudhishthira Maharaj, they are telling not to kill. And for a Kshatriya to kill a person who is a Nirastra is worse than death. Suppose I don't have a weapon and you want to kill me. Anybody can kill. And that is what is happening now. Nowadays, people are killing innocent animals because they cannot raise their voice. So animals are being butchered. So those who are butchering those animals, certainly their future life is very, very bad. Very bad, extremely bad. So we have to now recognize how to, how to seek shelter of Krishna in such situation. So in case of Arjuna, Krishna is demanding he must be killed, because although Brahmabandhu should not be killed, but he is no more Brahmabandhu because he is a katil, he is a killer, he is a murderer. That's why he has to be killed. Bhimasena also wants him to be killed, whereas Draupadi and Yudhishthira Maharaj, they have their own argument not to kill him. So what Arjuna has to do? So Arjuna have to find some midway that would exactly satisfy both the side, right? Both the side would feel that he has done the right thing. So now, this is what Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. So now let us see what buddhi Krishna is giving inside the heart of Arjuna. Sutavacha Arjuna saha sagyaya harer hardam athasina manim jahara murdhanyam dijasya sa murdhajam. Just then Arjuna could understand the motive of Lord by his equivocal orders. Thus with his sword he severed both hair and jewel from the head of Aswathama. So although Arjuna didn't kill Aswathama, but it was worse than killing, because Aswathama's the aura of the body of Aswathama is because of the jewel in his head. Okay, so he saved him, he cleaned his head and took away the money, the jewel from his head. So contradictory orders of different persons are impossible to carry out. Therefore, a compromise was selected by Arjuna by his sharp intelligence. He separated the jewel from the head of Aswathama. This was as good as cutting off his head. Yet his life was saved for all practical purposes. Here, Aswathama is indicated as twice burned. Certainly he was twice burned, but he fell down from his position. Therefore, he was properly punished. So he got a punishment that is worse than death. In fact, Aswathama personally would have preferred to be killed, probably. But he is a coward. He's a coward because he would have allowed himself to be killed after doing the heinous crime of killing Draupadi's sons. He didn't do that. He's a coward. So he had already lost his bodily luster due to infanticide. So when you do very sinful activity, what happens? Your bodily luster would go away. Now, moreover, having lost the jewel from his head, he lost even more strength. Thus he was unbound and driven out of the camp. Thus being insulted, he humiliated Aswathama, was simultaneously killed, not killed, by the intelligence of Lord Krishna and Arjuna. Okay, so Aswathama lust, bodily lust. He lusts his prestige. He lusts his own natural strength, and he was driven from the camp like a dog. Suppose dog invades somewhere, what do? You throw stones at him so that he goes away. So he was driven from the camp like a dog. So this is the treatment given to Asatthama. A treatment that is 1,000 times worse than death. Cutting the hair from his head, depriving him of his wealth, deriving him from his residence, are the prescribed punishment for the relative of a Brahmana. There is no injunction for killing the body. Wow. Sutta Goswami is saying, a Brahmana should never be killed. So cutting the hair from his head, depriving him of his wealth, driving him from his residence are the prescribed punishment for the relative of a Brahmana. There is no injunction for killing the body. Thereafter, the sons of Pandu and Draupadi, overwhelmed with grief, performed the proper rituals for the dead bodies of their relatives. Because the battle is over, now each departed soul must be paid proper respect. So that's why we have a funeral ceremony, funeral samskara. In fact, the souls who leave their body in such a scenario, they still in their subtle body look at their gross body, and because they're so attached to the gross body, they again and again come back to the gross body because they think this is me, this is me. Okay, so that is why you see in our traditional samskaras, what happens is that while the people in the house, they eat very nice food stuff, but this fellow is given food that is bitter, that is simply boiled, they are not very tasty. This kind of food is given. Why it is given? Because the subtle body, the soul in the subtle body would recognize that they are not treating me better. So there are certain samskaras. I don't know anybody who knows what happens during these 13 days after death, because we are too attached to this subtle body, gross body. We come back again and again and again and again, again and again. We are attached to the house. So again, we visit the house again and again, again and again. Only who is a devotee, who has realized the purpose of life is to go back to Krishna Loka, he doesn't come back. He doesn't look at here. It is like, you go to the toilet and, is after attending the call of the nature, you don't stay in the toilet. Oh, it's a very wonderful place. No, you immediately take bath and come out, right? So similarly, a Vaishnava, a proper Vaishnava, after leaving the body, he seeks the center of Krishna. That is why Vaishnavas, they don't fulfill or follow these 13-day rituals that normally the karmis do. Karmis must follow. Karmis must follow the rituals, 13-day rituals, because a karmi is too attached to his home, to his family members, to his own gross body. So So one by one, so that's why a karmi, he must burn his gross body. Karmi's relatives must burn, because otherwise he will be very attached to that gross body. He will be staying with the gross body. So that he must burn. So once you burn the gross body, then he will come back to your house. Right? So you have to treat him in such a way, while you eat nice food stuff, you give him some, bitter, not tasty, half-boiled things to him. And then when he starts seeing that they are really mistreating me, so this, in a karmi standard, the whole approach of purification is to mistreat him, such that he realizes they are no more his. Then he decides finally, naturally, okay, let me now accept the another body. So this, but a Vaishnava, he is, when the death notice comes, he's simply thinking of Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna's lotus feet. So that's why a Vaishnava, we don't have to perform these 13-day rituals. In fact, it will be an insult for doing 13-day rituals for a Vaishnava. Okay, so this is very, very important. But anyway, here, Draupadi, five Pandava brothers, along with Krishna, performed funeral ceremony for departed souls, and particularly they must have done for their own sons, like Draupadi's five sons, then Abhimanyu, and so forth. So this is amazing pastimes. How Asatthama finally being punished by Arjuna. You say, in this material world, we can do any kind of heinous crime. That is why we should not do anything without sanction of a master. So, master is very much necessary. Protection is very much necessary. Asatthama, although one of the Chiranjeevi, he was supposed to, he has been blessed to live for the entire Manvantara or so. I don't know whether it's the entire Manvantara or one Dibya Kalpa. And so I don't know. Maybe one Dibya Kalpa, I don't know. So he's supposed to live that long. But you see that with all this benediction, he committed heinous crime. So that is why, as a Vaishnava, we don't long for a long life. We only long for Krishna consciousness, right? Like yesterday, we did this quiz competition, and we saw the small kids expressing their gratitude, how they put their effort, where our ISKCON message has not percolated, like places like Muradabad. We have hardly any penetration of Krishna consciousness there. And people there taking up the book, studying it. One boy said that he has studied our small booklet, lesson 1 and lesson 2, and he felt so happy about reading it. That means how carefully they read. There are some boys and girls, they said they read the introduction to Bhagavad Gita again and again and again and again and again and again, because they are practicing for the quiz. So, and this is what is our life. Our life is that of our eternal occupation. We talked about dharma means eternal occupation. What is eternal occupation? Always serving Krishna, right? And we should be very happy. eh? As long as we are spreading the message of Bhagavad Gita, we are spreading the holy name, we are distributing prasadam, we are able to change the lifestyles of people to the Vaishnava way of life, we should be very happy. That is all. And we should feel very grateful to Krishna. Oh Krishna, you have been engaging us again and again, again and again. We should be very, very thankful to Krishna, isn't it? For last more than almost 30 years, more than 30 years, 88 to 2000, so it's almost 32 years. Yeah, it's amazing that how this life, this 32 years have been so pleasantly engaged by Krishna. So I should be very grateful to Krishna that he has made me an instrument in executing his devotional service. That gratitude to Krishna and Guru should be permanent, eternal. We should not forget it. Every day when you go to bed, you thank Krishna. Oh Krishna, you gave me an opportunity today to continue or to remain in my eternal occupation of devotional service. May tomorrow again I continue the same thing. Right? So this should be our meditation, because we don't want to die like Aswathama. That is very miserable. We should not be defeated by death. After learning Vaishnava literature, after learning Vaishnava philosophy, we should not become victim of death. We must conquer death. Otherwise, we are a failure. If you become a victim of death, then we are a failure. No devotee should be conquered by death. We should execute our lifestyle in such a way that at the time of death, leaving the body, we are fully conscious of Krishna. Ante Narayana Smriti. We are fully conscious of Krishna, that Krishna is in full control of everything. He is maintaining, he is sustaining. Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, Sadhana, Sakti Rekha, Chayeva, Yasya, Bhuvanani, Vivarti Durga, Ichhan Rupam, Apyasya, Chestate Sa, Govindam, Adi Purushottam. Thank you very much, my dear devotees. Any question you have? Does the law of अरे बहुत जल्दी आकर भाग जाता है. Akhya Abhay Chaitanya was asking something. नहीं Abhay Chaitanya.
All questions.
Aja Ritu Bhandari. If Yamaraj snatches away the subtle body at the time of death, then how come a soul wanders around his home or gross body in a subtle body? Wow. There is not one way. There is not one what is it called? There is not same treatment for everyone. Like a police catches a thief. In one case, he will not even look at that thief. He will say, get lost. He will put him in the jail. In some cases, he will tell, oh, because might be he was caught for the first time. So he will give him a chance. Should I put in the jail or you are going to mend your ways? So he would hit this thief with his baton 3-4 times, maybe, and will tell, next time you are caught, you'll be in jail. Warning. So I don't know how Yamaraj treats. Obviously, those who perform severe crime, punishable crime, they are certainly dragged by Yamadutas to the hell, like Ajamila was supposed to be dragged. But others who had led a karmi life, they have not done crime, but led a life of sense gratification, life of attachment. There are so many, isn't it? In a society, everybody is not a criminal in the sense that they go and steal and rape, and everybody doesn't do. There are majority. They live a so-called happy-go-lucky life kind of things, and they are very attached to their family. So they would not be dragged like Ajamila was being dragged by Yamadutas. So 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 I don't know what happens exactly, but what I explained is that this is what is they remain for some days once they leave their body, because they have not done very severe sin, but they have performed, they have lived a life of sense gratification, attachment, a life of ignorance, and hence how they will be dragged. They will be finally, of course, they will have some piety, because they must have given some charity to some brahmana, something they must have done. So this is a different case. So everybody is not different, you see. Everybody is different consciousness, so they will be given different kind of punishment. Krishna provides intelligence, and everybody also has an elemental intelligence present as an ingredient of subtle body. How these two things work in tandem. Wow. This Amrit, this fella, instead of chanting Hare Krishna, he asks a very, very crazy question. Hare Baba, when you are confused, what is the use of your intelligence? Of course, both intelligence, whether material intelligence or spiritual intelligence, both are given to us by Krishna. So in a state of confusion, what is a state of confusion? Krishna doesn't give us either material intelligence or spiritual intelligence. When mind becomes blank, intelligence becomes blank, then that is the state of confusion, what to do. Okay. So if you are having some intelligence, you will act according to that intelligence. So whichever comes first. So if you are an actor, material intelligence will come and you'll be rubbed out of your spiritual intelligence and then go to hell. And that's exactly happens. If you are an actor, always material intelligence So Krishna, if he's very kind, he will not give you material intelligence. Then you will seek the shelter of Krishna for spiritual intelligence. Akshay Kumar Naik, does the law of material nature provide choice when to accept the next body? How does the whole process of getting another body works? You see that these are all different ways. In some discourse, I had heard that uh, those who are very, very sinful people, they will be dragged to the hell, and then they will be punished severely in the hell according to their severe sinful activities, and then they will be given, they will be taken to the Yamraj's place. Then Yamraj would give the punishment that you be in the body of a hog. Then they are taken in a subtle body, and they are trained how to live a life of a hog, because hog has to eat now the stool. So they have to be taught how to eat stool. And then they are given the gross body in the hog's yoni. But normally, when you are relatively a karmi, you will take birth again as a human being. That's a different scenario. So, so in that case, um, a rich man is given a birth in a poor family, or a poor man is given a birth in a rich family. So this is so there will be some leeway, and how that happens, please don't ask. You have to visit Pitruloka and ask Yamraj how it happens, because I'm no more interested in those things. I'm more interested how Vaikuntha Vimana would come and will take me by Krishna's causeless mercy back to Godhead. Sarvagya Gauranga, when we chant Krishna's name, Maya should run far away. During chanting time, why we are overcome with sleep? Wow, very Baba. Because your body is filled with ignorance. If you are feeling sleepy more and more during the time of chanting, then you have to kick yourself more and more, and make sure that you don't sleep. You are active during the early morning time, because the morning time you remain more and more active, better you become in your spiritual consciousness. How was Asatthama blessed to stay for one Manvantara? Oh, I don't remember the story, how that has happened. I don't remember. I mean, if anybody knows. So, sir, how to maintain principles of cleanliness in devotional service constantly? Cleanliness principle in mode of goodness. Yeah, cleanliness means no illicit sex. So, if you don't sleep between 3, after 3, early morning, after 3, if you don't sleep, and you always put on clean dress, and you take fresh prasadam, you don't eat anything from outside, and don't eat food from by others also. Sometimes they really poison your consciousness. In fact, one of the biggest problem is that when we travel, sometimes we have a tendency to go and eat somewhere. Although we don't eat from restaurant or this or that, but somebody's house, reasonably, civilized person saying that this is food without onion and garlic. Normally, we should avoid such thing, because food is one of the worst way to pollute our consciousness. अच्छा समोसा मिल रहा है बिना प्याज लहसुन का, भाई खरीद लो, खा लो. हाँ, पानी पूरी मिल रहा है, हाँ, खा लो. outside thing you want to eat, best you eat मूंगफली, भुंजा हुआ मूंगफली, or fruits. Otherwise, cooked food, if you eat from outside, you don't know how they were cooked, how they were offered to Krishna. They are the biggest poisonous, they are the biggest poison that can pollute our consciousness. If you are practicing Krishna consciousness nicely, these two things pollute our consciousness and we become unclean. One is how well you are behaving morning time. After 3 o'clock, are you awake? Are you active in spiritual activities? This is one. And second is what food you are taking. And of course, the third one is the association. I have been in IIT Kanpur now 20 years, and all of you have seen me. Now also in my department, I don't know many of my faculty members, those who have joined. I don't know. I don't know. But still I'm an IIT professor. Nobody can say I'm not a professor. So these three things, my dear friend, your morning activity, your food habit, and association. These three will ensure proper cleanliness. Okay, and another, this Amrut Panda and then this Venkat Ratnam, and there are so many others. They are very polluted by the mobiles, internet surfing. So these are some of the things that we get polluted. We become unclean. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Praman.